just to get the ball rolling, why don't we have our panelists just tell us about what got them interested in AI in medical imaging? And hopefully they'll get the juices flowing.
I'll start. I fell into it completely by accident. So in the UK, when you finish your training as a radiologist, you're meant to go straight to a consultant, which is like the equivalent of an attending. But I didn't feel like I wanted to do that straight away, so I wanted to go and do some research. And you could apply to do research, and you had to write what you wanted to do. And I had no idea. And the day before I wrote my application, I read a paper by a chap called Olaf Ronneberger. I always spoonerize it. I think he works at Google, and he wrote a paper on segmentation networks. And then I thought, well, I'm pretty good at reading prostate MRI, but I'm really bored of like drawing where the cancer is. I wonder if we can segment things out. So I just wrote saying I'd like to study this. And then I spent 2 years doing it. I was paired up with a data scientist, and we segmented prostate MR. And this was before AI suddenly became a thing. So I was there completely by accident because I read one paper. That's why I got into it.
Yeah,
stunned silence. Everyone's silent. Like,
I was just thinking to myself that like how many tasks that we do in research, not even a part of our daily life, that were so horrible and boring that are now super useful, like ROI measuring, segmentation. It was NLP, but similar kind of a story. I was so tired of reading reports and trying to make them into structured data that I just said, there's got to be a better way. That's very similar, just all these things that we used to do. And now it's like, wow, this is really exciting research, but it really is just a small change, right? In terms of how we're doing these things.
Exactly. And you can't predict when the next thing's going to come along. And the next thing will come along. I'm kind of tired of the term AI a little bit now.
The next thing is Hugh, man, called COVID.
Yeah, I'm bored of COVID as well. Yeah.
We were going to call this webinar, is COVID the AI of diseases? That was going to be the initial sort of theme, but I think we're probably going too far there.
Let's find out how the others got into AI first. Come on.
Well, I'm quite the opposite, actually. So I was in AI first, working on generative models and just general computer vision. And I thought, well, do I really want to apply this to mass surveillance? Not really. So I thought about, what are ways in which this technology could actually help people? And I found Andrew's work, which is my advisor, Andrew Ng, who was collaborating with Matt at the time. And started diving into medical imaging and finding that AI could probably help.
Yeah, and I think that it's really cool to see, and Sharon, you're a great example of this. I mean, I think that with all these different talents, it's a very useful skill set, and there's so many industries that would say we would take this in a second. We want to use this now, and the idea that healthcare seems to be bubbling to the top often is great, because I think there's so many things that we can do. So that's really terrific. Luke, what about you? How did you start?
Kind of similar to Hugh, got to the end of my training and was very interested in technology. It was right sort of at the start. I kind of started seeing a few news stories around the AlexNet era and thought, oh, it'd be great to get involved in that. And like Hugh, paired up with data science, computer science type people. And then a couple of months into trying to do a project with them, they were supervising a whole bunch of other students and so on, and they were very busy. And just realized that maybe I could do the coding and such myself as well. And so from there, just started learning much more expansively about the topic rather than just sort of doing the image stuff. So from there, years down the track now, it's the main sort of focus of my academic life. Building a team down here now. I was going to say regarding Sharon's story, one of the greatest things I think happens in Stanford is that there's this real interest among the computer science people to do applied work. Often you see around computer science departments that everyone's very interested in theory and they want to get into the theoretical conferences, but the Stanford team over there does a lot of work that gets into the medical journals. And I find that a really exciting way to balance both sides of the topic.
How about you, Judy? What got you into AI and medical imaging?
Well, I'm not so sure I'm yet into AI, but so actually mine was, I was a radiology resident, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. And as you know, some of the papers that actually one came from Stanford was that AI was better than radiologists for pneumonia. Whether it was at least that's what the press
Hey,
say.
Judy, which paper was that again? I don't remember anything about this.
Trying to get more brand recognition.
I was like, who are these people? Like, who gives the audacity to be like, oh man, we're better than, I was like, only Stanford people can do this. So and then the ACR, which is the American College of Radiology, then had this huge panic, right? And there were all these residents who were saying, we're never going to radiology. There's no future for this specialty. And I was like, man, I have to see myself in this thing. So then I actually, later on, Jeremy Howard was doing his first class and he does this first lesson. I was like, oh my God, it only took 4 lines to do that. I was like, okay, maybe there's something here. And so I started off a little bit on an advocacy side to figure out what was the hype and what's the reality. And so I spent quite some time actually not writing anything, but learning and reaching out and organizing this residence journal club, which was also sort of like informal, where we could have scientists and clinician talk. And so, sort of, I would say right place, right time, which is pretty much the story of my life. But now I do enjoy a lot of basics informatics, and I see my role in AI as still fundamental, like what I learned in informatics, which is to build the foundation for safe AI in clinical care. So I do think that there's a role for AI, but I do think that there'll be a lot of harm done if some people don't do like the plumbing work, which is not usually sexy and rewarded. And so that's why I see that.